Clan, and welcome to a trailer analysis video. It's been a little while since I did one of these, but of course, if you haven't heard already and if you haven't seen my reaction video already, the new trailer for the final Dragon Age Inquisition DLC has been officially released, officially announced, and of course, as the final DLC is set for release on the 8th of September. So, in this little video, I'm going to go through a trailer analysis video. Now, of course, with this being a trailer analysis video, I will be muting the video. I will leave a link in the description, so go watch the trailer first, and then come back and watch my trailer analysis. I'm going to be analysing it quite detailedly. Now, if I miss anything, feel free to point it out, but I am mostly going to be going with the obvious stuff, with a couple of other stuffs done at the side. And basically going by second just so we can see a few things. So let's switch over to the other screen and let's go through the trailer now, shall we? Now, of course, one of the first things we are going to notice is, of course, the Olivians. The Olivians are going to be making a big impact. I have no doubt that these are going to be quite a prominent thing in Dragon Age Inquisition Trespassers, due to the fact that they are prominent in this one, and also this is another activated Olivian, which to our knowledge to our knowledge in game there's only one, maybe two active Olivian. But if you've read, of course, Dragon Age The Masked Empire, which of course I will say if you haven't read it, there will be spoilers with this, the Olivian network, at least to an extent, has been activated by Briala. This is the first time it's actually come into play in Dragon Age Inquisition by the looks of it, although the interesting fact, of course, is that it doesn't look like it's Briala who's using the Olivians. It actually looks like, as you can see here, we get a bit of a better look, of course, up here as we go along. The Kunari. Now, this just looks like a Kunari, and I'm not too sure what I think it's I think she's a Ben Hasrith. Just by going with her garb and also the big book on there, I do believe she is a Ben Hasrith. Now, just by going by this, it looks like the Kunari are the ones that have figured out how to activate the Olivians. At least that's what this trailer is alluding to. And of course, we see that the Kunari are going to be a major factor of this DLC because they are prominent in it, and also the fact that they are basically coming to destroy the Inquisitor. And the reason for that, we don't fully know, beyond the fact that, of course, the Kunari are heavily more oppressive to magic compared to the Chantry, to the point which, of course, the Cerberuses, who have their lips sealed, their eyes pretty much blinded, and are chained basically from birth if they even have a hint of magic. But the most prominent feature, of course, is the big guy over there with the tattoos and the magic. This is a Cerberus, a much larger Cerberus than we've ever seen before. The biggest Cerberus we've ever seen, of course, was in Dragon Age 2. They were quite prominent, especially when the Kunari took over Kirkwall. But they were very beastly. They were quite bigger than most, but these ones are much larger, much more to the size of ogres, the Darkspawn Kunari equivalent. And it also looks like they are using Rift magic, which is a type of magic that's only been available to the Inquisitor mostly. Of course, other mages have dabbled in it, but the Inquisitor is primarily the one with the hand, of course. Now, if the Kunari have been able to harness the Cerberuses to use Rift magic, I don't think this is something that has just happened. This is something that I think happened when the breach first opened and the rifts were started. I mean, I have no doubt that there were probably rifts appearing on Parvalan and various other Kunari homesteads, and the Kunari were studying it to an extent, which is why their Cerberuses have this power. Now, Cerberuses are incredibly powerful, and I do mean incredibly powerful. Even though they are chained, the Kunari know how to use them, and if they have the ability to harness Rift magic, that is something that we have never seen before, and I have no doubt will play a major factor into it. Now, if you notice, I do comment on the size of the Kunari. The Cerberus, it's basically as big as an ogre by the looks of it, and this is definitely abnormal. So I have no doubt that the Rift magic has had some impact on the Kunari Cerberuses, and maybe enlarging them and making them even more powerful, so they are definitely going to be a bit more of a challenge. Now, of course, the next scene, of course, we see Cullen, Josephine, and the Inquisitor riding into Orlais by the looks of it, or at least it looks definitely like maybe a bit of Val Rio, but this is much more of an official area. And the reason they're going about it is, of course, from the trailer, of course, is the fact that, well, the Inquisitor looks like they've been called to some form of tribunal. As you can see here, It's been 2 years since the events of Dragon Age Inquisition, so I'm guessing the Inquisition had still remained prominent and the occasional solve problems. The Inquisition basically answers to no one. The Inquisition only answers to themselves in a way. And of course, it looks like this is representative from both Ferelden and Olaise, judging by the garbs that they're wearing. Some of them are wearing fancy the Olasian style, and of course, some of them are wearing the much more traditional Ferelden style. And of course, in this particular one, it is Vivienne who is the Divine. Now, she isn't a Divine in my playthrough. I chose Liliana, but it looks like this is some sort of tribunal, basically to call the Inquisition into place due to the fact that the Kunari are such a threat. I don't think this is the beginning of the DLC. I think this is maybe like roughly the prologue. I definitely think the beginning of the DLC is going to be the Kunari making their presence known, the fact that they can use the Illuvians, they have access to Rift magic, and are basically coming on a full-scale incursion, which is something that we've predicted for years now, ever since Dragon Age Origins, when Sten mentioned it. The Kunari, the only reason they relented and have not done full force invasion as of yet is because they were matched, in all honesty, with the Tevinter Imperium. The Tevinter Imperium were matching them to an extent with their magic. And it's just safe to say that with the new enhancements of the Rift magic and the Illuvian, the Kunari have the upper hand, because when it comes to militarily wise, the Kunari are probably the most devout and probably the most fearsome armies in all of Thedas. At least that's from my point of view, just from what we know of the Kunari, since they're basically military for life if you're in there. As you can see, we are being judged by a Ferelden, the Divine, and of course someone from Olaise, just because that's the garbage. Now, the guy on the left, the guy from Ferelden, looks like he's going to be our main political adversary. At least that's what I'm seeing, because he looks like he's going to be prominent in the DLC. Now, of course, I don't know what will happen with the impact, of course, of who you put as Divine. Of course, in this instance, I believe it is Vivienne who is the Divine. I will hopefully get a better shot of her. Yeah, it looks like it's Vivienne who is the Divine, or this just could be a Grand Cleric, but I think it is the Divine. I don't know what kind of impact this will have, of course. Vivienne, of course, from my perspective, is much more politically minded. I have no doubt that if she is Divine, she would definitely have think more politically, and probably wouldn't even be too favourable of the Inquisition. Liliana's a bit of an iffy, and Cassandra, I do not know how she would react. I definitely feel as though Cassandra's probably the one who would probably be on your side the most. Liliana is a spy master, of course, but that's up for debate right now. Now, of course, we do see this little beauty. Now, I did actually watch Lady Insanity's video on this, and she did a really great analysis. And her theory is that this is a Ben Hathruth, a spy basically for the Kunari. I actually like that theory, just from the way they're dressed. It does actually lead a lot to it. And of course, we do get a little look at another Illuvian, our Inquisitor, going through it. Now, this is definitely feel that I do know that Briala knows of the Illuvians. Now, she never mentioned them to my knowledge in Dragon Age Inquisition. We only know of the Inquisitor. There are other Illuvians, but the only one she knows of is the one that the Inquisition owns, basically, which is, I think, is going to be where the Kunari's first assault is going to come from, is that basically portal. Now, I definitely feel if you sided with Briala, or did what I did, which was be able to convince Briala and Selena to get back to Empress Selene, get back together. That's my choice. I definitely think that Briala will help you with that. I definitely feel that she is going to be a very powerful ally in an instance. If she's not part of your in there, that could prove more challenging. I definitely hope that she will. To our knowledge, she is the only one that knows the passphrase to activate some Illuvians. Not all of them, but some of them, at least the ones that were in Masked Empire. I definitely feel as though they are going to be played, and she is going to be quite either a powerful ally, or if you didn't do it right, a very formidable foe. That's at least how I see it. Now, of course, we do see this little thing, which is very interesting, in the fact that looks like a dragon egg in the middle, by the way. I just want to point that out. That's a freaking dragon egg. This is definitely not our world. It definitely doesn't look like it because of the particular style. The cloud in particular, to me, definitely does not scream of our world. That looks like a big fog that surrounds the area. So I do not think this is a world. And of course, if you'll notice, and it took me a few viewings to notice this, we're inverted. There is the main area. There's the floor. This is the rooftops. So that's kind of interesting, and this only happened to us when we entered the Fade. So is this the Fade? It's definitely, I don't think it is due to the fact that it's missing the green tinge to it, but I definitely think this is one of the pocket worlds of the Illuvian, because we do know that the Illuvians don't just lead to the Fade, they lead to other locations. So I definitely feel that this is going to be one of the many worlds that we will visit due to this DLC, because I definitely think this DLC is going to take us to parts of Thedas and other aspects of Thedas more than any other DLC. I definitely feel we're going to see more areas. I wouldn't be surprised if we went to Tevinter, if we went to Parvalin. I wouldn't be surprised if we went to Ravania. I definitely think this DLC is going to show us much more of Thedas than we've ever seen in any other Dragon Age game. At least that's the way I'm seeing it. Now, if you'll notice, we're going through the Illuvian. You see the Illuvian, it looks like you're going to go into some sort of cathedral or area. Of course, there are Carnari here. That's a freaking big Cerberus. Much more, that's actually a slightly different Cerberus. If you notice, this one's much smaller compared to the one believe. So I do believe we'll see different types of Cerberus in this DLC. But if you will notice, this looks like we're going into some sort of ruins, yet we go into an open area basically, which is this area in particular interests me the most. As you'll notice, there's a dragon in the background, very big freaking dragon. Of course, we will see Cassandra, Dorian, I believe it is, who's there. But look at this area. This is not a forest area. This is not unlike any area we've ever seen before. I actually think this is an elven ruin or an elven pocket world. I'm leaning towards more ruin. To me, coming from Scotland, this looks like the Highlands to me. This looks like it's definitely inspired by the Highlands a little bit. Especially in area nearby me. I don't live in the Highlands. I'm a filthy lowlander according to some people. But if you will notice, this is definitely much more of a green area. It also looks like this area has not been touched in a long time. And there is also that big tree-like figure in the background, which we're not 100% certain what it is. But this to me definitely screams a little bit more of an elven touch to it. The ruins in particular, the greenery, the lake, and of course the dragon, since the elves may have worshipped the dragons in some way, shape or form. But I definitely find that kind of interesting from this aspect, that this is definitely either an elven ruin of some kind, or it might be another one of those pocket areas that we've never seen before. And of course, if you will notice, it looks like we're going somewhere. It looks like we're going to some sort of like, to me, Insanity pointed this out in her video. Definitely go watch her trailer analysis as well, because she does point out a lot of things, and I will thank her that I give her full credit. Her video is better than this, but that looks to me like some sort of fort. Now I don't know what kind of fort it is. I can't really make out that figure, in all honesty. It could be any number of things. I think it might even be an Elvani fort. I don't know. I'm merely pointing out what I see. And of course, if you look here, this definitely looks like either the deep roads, or I definitely think this is definitely the deep roads. Very much like, it's very similar to the architecture of the Descent, and if you will notice the architecture and the particular growth, more like the way it's grown and all, this definitely reminds me of the depths of the Descent, especially when we move on to this point where we can actually see lyrium veins in the back. So we are definitely pretty far down in the deep roads. I wouldn't even be surprised if this is maybe near another Titan, or at least the remains of a Titan, just because of the fact that these lyrium veins look like they've been untouched. They are much more natural than the other lyrium veins we've seen. As you see, they are growing. They look a lot more untouched compared to other lyrium veins. At least that's what it is. And of course, it looks like we're going to that area that we saw previously, which was the much more Elvani looking area, and then we skip of course to a much more open area. Of course, this is definitely a different scene. As you see, the Ferelden representative, I have no doubt, is there. Now I don't know if Alistair will play a part in this DLC. I'd like to think he does. At least that's the way I said. But we definitely see, and of course this is the Inquisitor. We see the other Orlesian. Now in this point of the trail, the Inquisitor is basically pissed the fact that Ferelden and Orlais are not going to help the Inquisition fight the Qunari by the looks of it, because it looks like the Qunari are just going after the Inquisition, and Ferelden and Orlais want to stay out of it, even though we've saved their ass not once, twice, 3, 4 times already. The Inquisition has saved their ass 4 times. We closed the breach the first time, we closed the breach the second time, we stopped Hakon from taking over the world, and of course we recently stopped earthquakes that were ripping Thedas apart. Basically, they're not going to help us. They're trying to stay out of it. Now, I do have a feeling that this will play into the DLC a little bit, of course. I will get to that in a moment, but I definitely this is going to play into the DLC a little bit, just for the fact that it will depend on your actions from Inquisition how people react to it. Now, of course, who's Divine will make a big impact, because the Divine holds a lot of sway when it comes to the Chantry, especially in Orlays. I definitely feel it's going to make a difference to how you maybe interacted with Alistair briefly. I definitely feel it's also going to impact who you left on the Elysian throne. Gaspard, if you left him on a throne, I don't think he's going to help you at all, because he's a puppet. I'm sorry, he's a puppet. He's easily manipulated. Selene and Brielle, I think, might be the best option, because I think those two balance each other out enough that they would maybe even consider helping you, but maybe not do it publicly, especially Brielle, who would much more do it from the shadows. Selene's a little difficult. And of course, we get to probably one of the more important aspects of the fact is that this here is the fact that your hand, the rift mark on your hand, is basically, the Inquisitor says it's trying to fucking kill her. Not in those words, but it's trying to kill her. So I'm guessing that now we this kind of mark is something we do not know. We still don't know a lot about the mark. We know a little bit due to the Ilvani artifact, the fact that that is an anchor of some kind, as a way to basically open a door to the Fade willingly, like just go open the void and seal it, of course. But then, of course, we don't know the side effects of it. As it says, at first the mark was going to kill us, if not for Solus, of course, which we will get to him in a moment. But I definitely feel, due to the fact that the Inquisitor has had this mark for so long, 2 years, of course, after the events, I definitely feel that is maybe part of it. Now, there is also a couple of theories out there that some people have put on there that maybe the Kunari are impacted due to the fact that they have Rift Mages now, or maybe with the Ilvani artifact that we destroyed, maybe Solus is trying to repair it in some way, and maybe it's manipulating it in some way. I like to think it's maybe a mixture of all of those, due to the fact that maybe the Rift will reopen in some way. The Rifts will reopen, because the Rift mark really doesn't have any other use to our knowledge, other than maybe creating a little shield or ripping a door in the Fade and sealing rifts. We do know that it is very powerful, and that's what makes the Inquisitor such an important person in Thedas, is because he or she is one of the most powerful people in Thedas because of that rift mark, and also being the Inquisitor doesn't make that a big difference. But I definitely think that's very important, the fact that this mark is trying to kill her, or him, of course. I find that very interesting, and I'm wondering how that is going to play into, of course, the DLC and also the main story. We will keep going. Of course, this is the scene that I absolutely love, which is, can't something stay right for fuck's sake? Now, of course, not in those words. In fact, I might even let you hear this. But let's. Nah, I don't want to risk copyright. But you will notice that they're in there. Three of the people in there: Liliana, Cassandra, and I don't know if Liliana's divine, if she'll even be there, because I don't know. That depends. My Liliana's divine, and of course the Inquisitor on the formal wear. This isn't Skyhold. I think this is somewhere else. And of course, Scout Harding is awesome. Reunite the team, of course. Definitely, that's also a deal, and I think there's been mentioned the fact that you will need to go back and talk to your party members. It's been 2 years. I have no doubt that the party members will have eventually moved on to different things. Maybe, well, some of them might have stayed with you. Maybe your romance will stay with you, but they will have their own things to do. But the Mike Laidlaw made it quite apparent that you will have to go and talk to them and see how they're doing. Now, I'm thinking of, from my point of view, Blackwall and Bull. I'll use these two as an example. My Blackwall, I basically said, as soon as we're done with the breach, I'm giving you the Warden. They can judge you. So my Blackwall might either be dead or he might be a warden. This Blackwall is still alive, of course. I have no doubt he'll probably still alive. I definitely think he'd survive the joining. Iron Bull is worth the Chargers in my one, so I think he's going to be on my side, hopefully. Of course, there's Vivienne, depending on what you do. We see a Fade step. Stop the Kunari threat. We see the Kunari quite prominent here, and much more Ilvani ruins. Now, of course, this thing here. This bit here is definitely interesting me, because it's basically, these look like ghosts to me. These look like more spectral enemies that we will be fighting. And they definitely, just because of the outline that we have, they look much more like the old elves that we saw at the Well of Sorrows. So I definitely think that these might be aspects of old elves. And if you notice, this is the same terrain as we saw earlier when we were going through the Luvians. You'll notice that this is the same terrain by the looks of it. Hills, much more highlandy looking. The ruins look fairly similar. So I definitely think that, of course, there's the big Ilvani ruin in the back. So I was right about that in my opinion. But I definitely think that these might be aspects of elves that are left over that are still defending this area. Maybe that's why it's remained untouched for so long. Or maybe we are in the Fade. We don't know. It's tough to say at the moment. But I definitely find it interesting that we are going to be interacting with maybe dead elves who have been dead for a long time. Of course, we see the much. We see a few more defend your legacy. This is my favorite part. In fact, I'm just gonna play this. You won't hear it, but this is my favorite part. Just because the Inquisitor's like, look, bitch, pff, dropped, and that is very significant. Now, I think this is the same book that Cassandra had at the start of Inquisition. The book that basically says the Inquisition's formed, bitches. Basically, we will do as we need to save this world. That looks like it's the same book, which also has the Injustice Harry eyeball on it. So I definitely think this is the Inquisitor basically going, look, fuck you guys, if you're not going to help me, boom, I'll just go and deal with it myself. And of course, people are not happy about it. I definitely think, because a lot of people in Thedas still don't think the Inquisition have too much power, and in a way, they do. The Inquisition has its own army, its own spy master, its own political power. The Inquisition is a threat to some people, even if it does serve a purpose in this world, and that's something I think is going to be very heavily played in this DLC, is the fact that the Inquisition is powerful. Very powerful, probably more powerful than any other nation so far. They serve under their own flag. They don't take orders from the Legion Empire. They don't take orders from Ferelden, Tevinter, Ravania, the Canary. They don't take orders. They take orders from the Inquisitor. You. So I definitely think that's going to play, and of course with your decisions you made in Inquisition is going to be a major factor. Of course there's the face guys like, I'm high. And then of course we see more ruins, of course, old ones. These may be elven, they definitely have similar architecture to the ones we see, and we will see that there is a rift by the looks of it opening up. I don't know if that's the Inquisitor. It's the Inquisitor, it looks like the rift mark's playing up again. And we see Illuvians, we see... This is definitely interesting. I'll see if I can pause it at the right point here. No, I don't think I'm going to be able to. We do see a statue of Fenriel, which is very interesting. This is definitely elven ruins. It looks like that we are moving the statue, so that we're going to be going underground as well. Of course, we have the Veil Fire there as well. And then, of course, we see Stoned Kunari and Stoned Tevinter. This isn't the first time we've ever seen this. Of course, if you think of the pirates from the Mark of the Assassin DLC, there is magic out there that will turn people to stone. So this looks like it's a moment frozen in time. So I definitely find that kind of interesting. The fact that this looks like it's a frozen time. We will see there is an Illuvian up the back with two Kunari at the side. But that's a Kunari. That I'm not 100% certain. That could be a Tevinter fighting over it. But it looks like the Inquisitor is going to try and stop them from going through the Illuvian, which I think is going to be a major factor to gain control over the Illuvians and stop the Kunari. Because if the Kunari got a hold of the Illuvians, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we're fucked. Because the Kunari are tough. Of course, we see more Kunari. One of the big Kunari up at the back. Which is probably a Sarabas ogre-sized one, so we definitely see this is going to be a very pleasant time. The rift mark coming in play there. And by the way, I have to agree with Ash on this point. I like the look of this armor. This is probably the rogue armor, one of the new armors, due to the fact that it's daggers that they're wielding. I don't know how it will look on a mage, but I love the look of this armor. I love the pockets. I love the design of it. I also like the Kunari one that we got with the DLC. I really like that. Of course, there's a dragon because it's a freaking dragon in New Dragon Age. Even though I killed supposedly every dragon in Dragon Age, apparently there was still one lurking about. Of course, there's the Rift Mage Sarabas, which is very interesting. Hulking up, he's going, hulk up. So I definitely think there are going to be two different types of Sarabas. The Rift Mage Sarabases, which are much larger and probably absorb more magic, and the normal Sarabases that we'll come across. And of course, this is mostly just more showing off our party members. Cole. We don't know how much they've changed, in all honesty. Cassandra looks like Cassandra. She's a badass. Varric, of course, Bianca. And of course, there's another rift. It looks like it's the same scene from earlier, only this time there's a dragon running towards them ready to eat them. And of course, Dragon Age Trespassers. And of course, there's this part. Hello, Solus, you fucking asshole. I knew that he was going to be making a return. Now, if you look, he is wearing slightly different garbs than he usually was. Much more furs, much more metal. Definitely more of a Mythal look, if you think about it. And of course, let's get a look at that lovely, bald, egg-like face. And there he is. I think that's pretty much the best we're going to get. Yeah, there. He basically says, I'm guessing you have questions. We finally see Solus's return. I don't know if he'll be a party member. I don't think he will. They haven't confirmed if we'll have any new party members. That's something that Dragon Age Inquisition has reluctantly not had, in my opinion, is more party members. We haven't had any DLC party members. So I definitely think we'll get some new party members in this, because I don't think Solus, depending on how you maybe treated him, if you gained his respect or if you romanced him, will be different. How maybe he'll join you, maybe he'll be on your side, maybe he'll be an enemy. But do remember one important aspect of this. The fact is that this isn't the same Solus we knew. The Solus we knew was Fen Haral. He was a completely different person to the person he is now, due to the fact that Fen Haral and Mythal have combined in a way. At least that's what it looked like in the DLC and at the end of Inquisition. So this is a different, entirely different beast, a different person, in my opinion. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting. And of course, we have the release date, which is September 8th. I will be playing it. Hopefully, if all goes well, I may have something planned for it. But yeah, safe to say shit has hit the fan, in all honesty. There was a lot in that single trailer alone that we could nitpick. But due to the fact that it is only 2 weeks away now, I think that's it, isn't it? Yeah, 2 weeks. A week on Tuesday, basically, it comes out. Which A+ for that. Like, I don't know what it is. BioWare seem to get their. I definitely think BioWare are pulling a Bethesda, and they're basically like, we'll announce the DLC when we have a confirmed release date, and they've given us a little warning, which I like. I like the fact that they're basically not releasing the DLCs until they're 100% ready. So this trailer definitely came at a good time. I'm really excited for this DLC. I like Jaws of Hakon. Descent was enjoyable, and this is the epilogue DLC, the final DLC for Dragon Age Inquisition. So I definitely want to see how our story ends. And of course, Michael A. Lobb made the little thing. This is the end for Inquisition. Doesn't mean it's the end for the future of the Dragon Age franchise. I have no doubt that the next Dragon Age will lead right after the effects of Dragon Age Inquisition. Whether the Inquisition is left in crumbles, which is a possibility, I have no doubt that this DLC may possibly lead to the end of the Inquisition. That's a possibility. But I am definitely excited to see where this DLC leads. I have my own personal theories, and I can't wait to play it. I thank you for watching. Of course, if there's anything I missed, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know what your thoughts, your theories are. And as always, feel free also to go check out Lady Insanity's trailer analysis, because it does go into some stuff that I did not, because I definitely feel she points out some stuff and gives her own personal theories. So go check that out if you haven't already, and I'm sure other people will do plenty of other trailer analysis. Other than that, I thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want to keep up with all this, feel free to click that subscribe button. Other than that, I thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Ciao for now.